The ratchet is trapped in a vicious circle, okay? A vicious circle of their own doing, as all vicious circles are. We all contribute and perpetuate our own vicious circles or cycles. I say circle because it comes all the way around again. I've heard it said both ways. But the ratchet perpetuates their own vicious cycle. Have you ever noticed that if you have a conversation with a ratchet, which, God forbid, but if you happen to, and you just can't, this motherfucker corners you or something, you got to talk to him. What you'll notice is they have a real victim complex, a real victimhood mentality. And they'll always talk about how where they go places, people look at them certain ways and people do this to them and do that. And sometimes, there's truth to it. You could just be black in public and you could be in an area where, it's kind of different and people are looking at you because they're not used to seeing people like you. And sometimes that's negative. But largely, I think if you mind your business and you don't look like you up to no good and you don't look like, you just got out the pen and your name is Little Nug Nug, you're probably going to be left alone. And you probably should be tough enough to handle a look or two. If somebody puts hands on you, that's different. But a look, move on. But they'll talk about all this, and they'll talk about this general feeling of being hated by the world, and it's all on the black man's back. And these are things they say. They're always very much into Egypt and what we did thousands of years ago, and so they all have very similar conversation patterns. They can't highlight anything that they've done today. But they can talk a lot about fucking, Tutankhamun and Kemet and all this. But I say all this to say, if you listen to their speech patterns and you look at their behavior, you can see how they perpetuate their own vicious cycles. Case in point, right? Maybe I'm becoming a crotchety old person, but I really hate when people get on the fucking train or a bus or in any situation where it's people congregating in a shared space, blaring fucking music that's got a lot of profanity in it. I'm cursing right now, but I'm assuming you're all 18 and up. They get on a train, blaring music with real explicit lyrics, and there are old people on the train. And sometimes I feel bad just seeing those old people having to listen to this and having to listen to it loudly. And what the ratchet does is they'll get on and they'll blare the music. They won't care about the fact that they entered a quiet environment. They just, it's my time and it's all about me. Because believe this, first and foremost, the ratchet is all about themselves. The black victim is all about themselves, right? So how it relates to the vicious cycle or circle is what they're doing is this is what the ratchet does. They will go to a place. They will make a horse's ass of themselves. They will show up dressed the loudest, with the pants the lowest, smelling like 10 bales of weed, okay? Looking just absolutely like, if you looked up stereotype in the fucking dictionary, it would be a picture of this person. Looking absolutely like that, right? And then they flip out when people stop and look at them because they're dressed like a whole fucking criminal or what we associate with criminality. Then they get mad at the people who notice that they stick out like a sore thumb when they're coming in loud, coming in aggressive, coming in with a blunt in their hand, smoking it openly in public, coming in blaring music, coming in with the bright ass, loud ass outfits on that they assume is fashionable, but they look like cartoon characters. And it even doesn't even matter about age. I've seen this dude who had to be 60 something, okay? I saw him walking around and he had a do-rag, a bright green hat, a bright green jersey, some blue jeans, and some bright green shoes, smoking some weed, walking down the street, and he had his music blaring. And I'm like, dude, you're 60. It's over. Like it's unacceptable to me when I see a 20-year-old do it. But you're somebody's grandma, or in the black community, possibly somebody else's great grandfather. So you don't have no business wearing this. But that's what the ratchet will do. And if you ask that same person if they experience discrimination, they'll say, "Yeah, all the time, all the time. I can't go anywhere without people staring at me, and I can't go over here and I can't go over there. It's because you draw attention to yourself. The ratchet has convinced him or herself that the world is out to get them, while they're actually the ones out getting the world. They're the ones out committing the crimes. They are the ones out having children out of wedlock. They are the ones out dressing like they're 19 when they're in their 50s and 60s, because we can't have black elders who want to dress like responsible people. We got these people trying to look like they're still in their Wu-Tang, phase or whatever the fuck, and that shit's been over about 30 years. Okay, we just got these people who are basically clowns. Clowns. And what happens when a clown walks down the street? You stop and you look. But in their warped mind and in their strong desire to be a victim, and to be a rebel and to be this and that, because that's what it comes down to. Everybody's hating on them, and everybody's jealous, and everybody fears the black man. No, we're just annoyed by the side of you. Ratchets. We're annoyed by the side of you. Those of us who are black are not only annoyed by the side of you, we are embarrassed. We are embarrassed by you. We're embarrassed by your existence. The fact that you can't see as a 50-year-old man that your pants should not be hanging below your ass. That you as a 50 to 60-year-old woman shouldn't be out here fat as fuck with your long titties hanging out and your fucking tattoo on your titties and the tattoo on your neck and the long acrylic nails make you look like you climbing trees in Madagascar. We are annoyed by the sight of you. You make yourself look like the worst stereotype in the world, and then you get fucking mad when people look at you. It is a vicious cycle. A cycle of their own making. That's what the black victimhood complex is now. There's still racism in the world. There's still people who probably don't want to see people of color make it. I don't deny that. I've seen that. I have experienced that. But I want to tell you this, 99.99 times out of 10, it's black people punching themselves in their own face. Better yet, let me stop saying blacks and ratchets interchangeably. Blacks are people who work for a living, do their job, and don't carry themselves like clowns, and have respect for other people's environment. Ratchets, okay, and I'm not going to say the N-word because I don't want that in my vocabulary, because I don't want to be like these ratchets. Ratchets are the clowns I'm talking about. The ones who are so sure that the world hates them and hates black people. No, they hate you. I mind my fucking business. I go wherever I want to go. And even if there are some people who initially maybe haven't been around black people, all it takes is 2 seconds to speak to me and know, oh, okay, this person's got sense. This person isn't going to try to rob me. This person isn't going to start smoking weed in the establishment. This person isn't going to decide to just post up on public property with 8 of their friends and smoke weed and hold court and act as though, like, that's one thing I'll never understand. Okay, just a side note. Okay, let's say you go to the train station. Inevitably, it's a group of ratchets just standing there in a circle, smoking herb, playing music loud, but then they always say, well, we're over-policed. You're at the train station. Cops post up there. Why would you all congregate, play loud music, and smoke weed? Aren't you gonna bring attention to yourself? Now, I'm not against any of those things if you're doing it in your home. But when you post up like that and you do that stuff, you draw attention to yourself. But understand that once they draw attention to themselves and Johnny Law, right, comes around the corner and says, hey, I need to detain you, the first thing they're going to do is scream racism if the cop is white. And if the cop is black or any other color, they're going to call him an Uncle Tom or whatever it is. They bring this shit on themselves. That's my thought.